that concept of macroeconomics, and so important in the way I look at the big picture of the world, is understanding what is behind me and what is in front of me. And when you're driving your car, you can't stare out the rearview mirror and go fast, you're gonna crash. So you have to always be thinking forward looking. You check your mirrors, you check to make sure before you make a turn. So how do I take that metaphor and apply to macro investing? GDP is looking out the rearview mirror. It's what has happened. It's the total dollars for services and products that have been made or provided. Looking forward is Purchasing Manufacturers Index, PMI. And both these numbers come out every month and you can recalibrate and reset. So PMI is so important for me, and in that process of doing regressional studies, the quant approach which I applied for investing from stock picking to macro factors, I have found that when the 1 month for global PMI is above the 3-month average, what do we see? Rising oil prices, rising steel prices, rising copper prices. We're seeing economic activity. Why is that? Well, as someone who's making electric engines, all of a sudden gets a big purchase order and he's got to turn around and buy the metal. He's going to consume lots of energy making the engines. And he has to deliver the engines in 6 months out. So it's future economic activity, and it's highly correlated to the commodity world. So it's helped me to navigate risks and be able to pivot more quickly for capturing opportunity. Well, there's two forms of knowledge. There's the explicit knowledge and there's the tacit knowledge, your hands, your participation in some type of an event. And it's so important, and the best metaphor that I like to explain to investors is explicit knowledge is like getting your driver's license. That doesn't mean you're a good driver. It just means you pass a test. So the tacit knowledge is literally driving that car. The explicit knowledge is passing the test. 6 years later, no accidents, you're a good driver. Now we're going to send you over to England. You have to take tests, brand new explicit knowledge, new signs, and now you have to drive on the opposite side of the road. Now you have a complete different tacit learning experience. So good investors, they have both, and they understand like X and Y axis to get that Z outcome of performance, that they're always curious to learn and improve their explicit knowledge, reading books, and at the same time meeting other highly driven people, which is the tacit knowledge, visiting properties, going to a gold mine. I don't have to be a geologist to visit enough gold mines to understand good operations and bad operations. The more businesses I visit, the more CEOs and CFOs I get to talk to learn what they're doing, or chief technology officer or chief operating officer. How do they operate their business? Because how you operate in that tacit knowledge, I can learn from you to apply to actually as a money manager. So that's part of that tacit knowledge.